Nestled on the steep cliffs between Mounts Kozjak and Mosor, above the beautiful city of Split, there's a stronghold that's been protecting the Dalmatian coast for more than 2,000 years. Fortress Klis. Its name comes from the Romans, who called it clausura, meaning closed or unconquerable. Over the centuries rolling over the many tongues of conquering empires, it eventually morphed into Klis. Its recorded history goes back to the ancient Illyrians, who defended it against Caesar Augustus in the 1st century until it fell in the year 9 of the Common Era. It remained under Roman control for the next several centuries until the empire fell. There's been a fortification here on the site of Castle Klis for more than 2,000 years, from the Romans to the Byzantines to the Illyrians to the Venetians and the Austrians. The list just goes on and on. It's a very strategic spot, and it was last conquered by the production company of Game of Thrones. That's right. Fortress Klis was the set of the fictional city of Meereen in Season 3 of the hit HBO series. But ultimately, it was the Croatians who raised their flag here. Not if Daenerys Targaryen has anything to say about it. There's a museum here exhibiting the dress and weaponry of the various occupying empires. Game of Thrones aside, Fortress Klis is best known by historians for its siege by the Ottoman Empire, who spent 25 years attempting to breach its walls before it finally fell in 1537. Now, if you had the misfortune of being an Ottoman soldier or a Roman soldier involved in a siege of this castle here in Klis, after scaling this incredibly steep rock up from Split, you'd have this to look forward to. Yet another impenetrable wall with oil and boulders and arrows flying down on you. It would be a miserable existence. Of course, if you were an actor on the Game of Thrones, they would just break for craft services and you'd be cool. The Turks stayed until 1669 when the Venetians kicked them out, and the Austrians returned the favor when they captured it from the Venetians in 1797. Fortress Klis was constructed with 3 rings of defensive perimeters, the first being the tall, sheer walls in the cliffs, making an approach nearly impossible. The second defensive wall is what gives the fortress its classic look. This is where you can begin to explore and find all the cool little view spots and secret rooms. I love when you can climb around these old forts and really get a sense of what it was like to be stationed here 500, 600 years ago and see what those soldiers saw looking out these windows. It's an incredible experience. I found serious history vibes in this slightly creepy powder magazine. This has all the earmarks of the dungeon, but probably the powder magazine, because the walls are so thick here. They're probably like 6-7 feet thick, protecting against an explosion that might happen in here or something like that. But boy, the acoustics created by those walls, I'd love to jam in here. What a great recording studio. And speaking of powder rooms, ever wonder how a soldier went to the bathroom in a remote place like this? Well, this ancient toilet answers that question. This is either the best secret entrance ever or the world's worst water slide. The higher you climb, the better the walls show off the commanding views of Split down on the coast and overlook the village of Klis, just below the walls of the fort. As I stood there on the highest bastions, I kept hoping for the mother of all dragons to return on Dragon, but alas, to no avail. To get to the top, you'll climb one more time. This tower marks the 3rd and final entrance to the Castle Klis. It was the ultimate line of defense for anybody that was trying to storm this castle. So as the assault and the siege came and tightened its ring, the defense would move closer and closer into the final ring of the fort. And if you made it this far, the entire enemy force was just waiting for you on the other side of this wall. The military importance of this real estate is made clear on the highest points of the fortress, where you'll find a 360-degree view of the surrounding terrain out to the coast. Boy, today you would have to pay for that view. The royal residence up here has been converted into an art gallery with some interesting work on display, and like most ancient towns and castles, at the very top you'll find a Catholic church. This one is one of the coolest I've ever seen, with some serious GOT vibes. Of all the rooms we explored, this one gave me the greatest sense of traveling back through time and history.
Oh, you know those Christians. They have to be the highest place in the castle.
Fortress Klis's stunning beauty, endless secrets to explore, and sense of timelessness made it a must-do experience for anyone who loves soaking up history.